Hi, my name is Starla, and this is my top 10 horror movies of the year list. Mostly theatrical releases. There are some top movies I know I've missed. I will go back and check those out soon. But in the meantime, from the plethora of films that I have seen, these were my favorites and or most memorable. Number 10, Dashcam. The start of the pandemic, a self indulgent and self deluded live streaming improv musician abandons LA for London, steals her ex bandmate's car, and makes the wrong decisions to give a ride to an elderly woman who is not what she seems. This movie was produced by Blumhouse for $100,000. It is a wild ride. It is mouth dropping in scenes. I didn't expect it for a documentary live streaming YouTube style video movie, YouTuber style movie. She's the type of person that you just don't like, but you can't get rid of her. And it's what should have been something seemingly so simple is just weird. And I really appreciated it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it did burn a hole into my memory. Number 9, Fresh. The horrors of modern dating are seen through the eyes of a young woman who is battling to survive her boyfriend's unusual appetites. I went into this movie blind. It was the first horror movie I saw this year. I didn't watch the trailer, so I had no idea what it was about. And that made it really special. I liked the movie poster, it had good ratings at the time, so I went with it with a friend. It was funny. It was slick. I really enjoyed the male lead. He was my favorite character. I love a funny, generous, seemingly nice kind of psychopath character, like American Psycho, this kind of guy. And even though they're about to do terrible things to you, they just seem so chipper and upbeat. Something that's not as fresh on my mind as some of the other movies since I saw it so early in the year, but it's definitely making my top list. Number 8 on the list, X. A group of actors set out to make an adult film in rural Texas under the noses of their reclusive hosts. But when the elderly couple catches their young guest in the act, the cast find themselves in a desperate fight for their lives. It was very hard to choose between putting Pearl or X on the list or just grouping them together, but I felt like that was a little bit of a cop out. I was not excited for this movie. I love A24. Saw the trailer, wasn't excited, but this one was really surprising. I didn't expect it to be as creepy as it was, and I didn't expect it to be as interesting in the setting. But it was a good time to see in theaters with Jenna Ortega and Kid Cudi. They did a great job, and I am very excited to see Maxine to see how this world rounds out. Number 7, Bones and All. Love blossoms between a young woman on the margins of society and a disenfranchised drifter as they embark on a 3,000-mile odyssey through the back roads of America. However, despite their best efforts, all roads lead back to their terrifying past and a final stand that will determine whether their love can survive their differences. Bones and All, again, it was on my radar, but it was something I could have seen or not seen. But I really enjoyed it. It was the artistic vision and hearing the director and the actors, Timothée Chalamet, Taylor Russell, break down the scenes and talk about it. That grew my appreciation for the film even more. There's a lot of still shots. There's a lot of handheld running. There's some handheld running in there. It wasn't a super scary movie. There is some horror, not a lot. It's definitely more about young love, coming of age, cannibalism story. But there is a character in the movie, which is one of the creepiest characters I've seen all year. And with him alone, the movie deserved to be on the list. And when they do get into the cannibalism parts of it, from the very first scene, I remember my mouth was open because they showed everything, not to give anything away. Um, they actually showed more detail than what I expected. And I really appreciated that. A lot of thought was put into this movie, and it definitely deserves to be on my top 10. It could have been pushed a little further, I think. I know it's based on a book, so it feels like a novel, but had it had a little more grossness, I probably would have put it higher. Number 6, Men. Harper retreats to the countryside to be alone in the wake of tragedy, but her unease at the town's leering and uncannily similar men rolls into a fully fledged nightmare as her arrival awakens something primal in the forest. This is a weird movie. It's A24. It's artsy fartsy. I like it. I didn't read the reviews of it, but I did hear a lot of people had issues with it, or maybe they felt like it bashed men. I didn't read it as that. I read it as this one particular character had a traumatic experience. It's one of those movies where you're not sure if what's happening is real. Is she having a mental breakdown? Regardless if it's real or not, it is still happening to her. And it's a terrible experience. It's beautifully shot. The music is great. It looks like film stills from some fine art photography. I just wanted to take screenshots of several frames. And it's one that stuck with me. I will definitely give this one a rewatch. Um, just don't read much. Try not to read too much into it and take it for what it is versus what all of the symbolism could be. And understand, unfortunately, that may be some people's perspective in the world. So, best we can do if you come across someone with that perspective is just to treat them with kindness and show them there are different types of people in the world that don't fit into the box because, of course, not all men are the same. 5. Terrifier. Resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to Miles County to terrorize a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. I wasn't initially super excited for Terrifier 2 because even though it had a cult following, I didn't love the first Terrifier. This movie is completely different. It's still lower budget, I believe $250,000. I like that this felt like a passion project. It felt like a movie someone really wanted to make. I was glad when I heard it was getting a bit wider theatrical release because initially it wasn't showing in my city and we were the only ones in the theater. I enjoyed it so much. They didn't hold back. The gore, one of the best gory movies I've seen this year. Did the plot get a little muddy? Yes. But you're not coming to Terrifier 2 for a plot. You're coming to it for the blood, the practical effects, the fact that it was shot on film, I believe, or it looked like it was shot on film. It's been a while since I looked up the specs to the movie when I did my short on it. But I left the movie feeling like I had a really good time, even if I didn't understand every single aspect. It just was a fun movie that I felt like someone got to get out of their soul and produce for people that can enjoy a good slasher and gore fest. Number 4, Smile. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. As an overwhelming terror begins taking over her life, Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her new horrifying reality. I was not excited for Smile. I had seen the trailer for Smile probably at least 5 times in theaters. It was everywhere. I did like the marketing, but it just looked like a run of the mill horror movie. Is it the most original story? No, because it did remind me of Truth or Dare with the creepy smile. It have a premise like The Ring or It Follows, even though It Follows is probably on an overall list somewhere. I didn't have much hope in it, even though I knew I was going to see it. It was actually a scary movie, and that shocked me that it was actually scary. I didn't expect it to be so effective. The jump scares were effective. And then when it even showed more of the sinister force, a lot of times movies, they're kind of ruined or you're kind of left feeling not completely interested in the sinister force. And when they actually showed it, it was like, oh my goodness, what is that? So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Smile. I didn't expect to like as many movies as I did on this list. And Smile definitely deserves to be in the top 5. Before I get to my top 3, I wanted to list my honorable mentions. Nope. It was just more of a sci-fi movie to me. Still a good movie. Very funny. Love the world that it's in. Bodies, bodies, bodies. Extremely fun. The dialogue is just a little exhausting, but it's a great murder mystery. Pearl. Great character study, but all of the horror is in really like the last 10 minutes. Halloween Ends. Controversial choice. I did like this movie. Christmas Bloody Christmas. Strictly for the aesthetics. That's it. And The Leech. Great acting, great chemistry between the main characters. And on to my top 3. Coming in at number 3, Don't Worry, Darling. In the 1950s, Alice and Jack live in an idealized community of Victory, an experimental company town that houses the men who work on a top secret project. While the husbands toil away, the wives get to enjoy the beauty, luxury, and debauchery of their seemingly perfect paradise. However, when cracks in her idyllic life begins to appear, exposing flashes of something sinister lurking below the surface, Alice can't help but to question exactly what she's doing in Victory. I was not looking for this film. I thought it would probably be fine. I didn't think it was going to be an actual horror movie. A friend recommended it to me. Harry Styles is in it. Florence Pugh. Olivia Wilde directs it. Chris Pines is in it. It's a good movie to me. I know there was a lot of drama behind the scenes with the cast, apparently. I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did. There were moments when I found myself not breathing, and regardless of what genre it was categorized as, because it is more of a psychological thriller, I suppose, it's still a horror movie. The scenery, the setting, the 50s, the colors, the styling, the hair, the clothes, the music, their idea of fun and just the swing of it all. I love the entire world of it. And then there was a twist. Like, there's something weird going on. I don't try to guess movies as they're going on and give myself an extra pat on the back for figuring everything out or not. But I enjoyed where it went. It was a journey. I didn't know how the characters would resolve any of the issues, even though we can tell there's some issue bubbling beneath the surface. And I feel like Florence really did a fantastic job, like she did in Midsummer. She was Danny times 10 in this movie. I know some people weren't sure about Harry Styles' acting in the movie since it should have been, or it was supposed to be, Shia LaBeouf. But I think for the type of role that Harry was supposed to do, I think he achieved that goal. So don't worry, darling. I don't know how it did in theaters, but definitely on my top. Number 2, The Menu. This film focuses on a young couple who visits an exclusive destination restaurant on a remote island where the acclaimed chef has prepared a lavish tasting menu along with some shocking surprises. Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, There's some other nice people in there. Can't think of their names at the moment. I wanted to see this movie based on the trailer, but it was not what I expected. The trailer does kind of make you think it's going to be one way, and that's not exactly what it's going to be. There was so many unique things about this movie to me. From the setting, it mostly takes place in one room. Anya and Nicholas are fantastic. Watching the director break down a scene, so much thought was put into this. Showing the menu on the screen, it made you want to eat, it made you want to try fine dining, but it really didn't take itself too seriously, kind of poking fun at the entire industry, from the servers to the bloggers to the food snobs to the foodies, what it might be like to be a chef or to be in this world. And, the do you know who I am kind of society. And the movie was extremely funny. Laughed out loud, funny in the theater. Definitely want a snack for the movie. It makes you want to eat. I didn't expect to like it this much. I feel like the rewatchability is very high. Everything about it is elevated for me. It's not too artsy fartsy, even though it is artsy in a food world kind of way. Highly appreciated this movie. I don't know if people, my son is growling now. I don't know if people loved it or not. It still is in theaters, so if you haven't seen it, I would see it before it's leaving, but definitely check it out on streaming if you haven't. And coming in at number 1, Barbarian. A young woman discovers the rental home she booked is already occupied by a stranger. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the night, but soon discovers there's a lot more to fear than an unexpected house guest. It is a movie, like everyone said, go into it blind. It only costs $4.5 million to make, so it is still considered low budget. They know how to work a budget. Not only is it scary, it's thrilling, and not just in like a psychological thriller kind of way. So much is going on, and then there's these tonal shifts. There's unexpected humor. They add characters when you're not expecting it. Bill Skarsgård is in it, but it doesn't even matter who's in it because everyone does a great job in their individual roles. There are creepy crawly scenes that will make your toes curl a little bit. It was just a refreshing surprise in the same way. What was that movie last year I really liked? I'll just put it in right here. But yeah, Barbarian is my number 1 horror movie of the year. I'm so glad I got to see it in theaters, but I will be rewatching it for sure. So that is my top 10 list. I hope I didn't leave anything out that I don't think I left anything out. I will leave my Letterboxd below and my other channels that are more fashion and art. Yeah, so this is my first official video, and thank you for watching.